Hi there, it's Lori, Positive Thanks Living, and it's Junk Journal July. So I've been working in my summer journal that I made through Cara Brandon Creations summer journal stuff. And so I had day 1 and day 2 was highlights, day 3 was botanical, day 4 was details, day 5 was vintage, day 6 is minimalism. So day 7 is going to be about an envelope here. Envelope. And it'll go there, and I have the envelope I want to use, and I'm going to make it into a flippy flappy thing. So we'll decorate it. But I want to tell you about where I got this envelope. One of the highlights of this July has been receiving some things from Marcy at Creators Call. She has decided to pivot how she's doing things with junk journaling, and I'll link to her video below. She can tell you all about it. The neat part is, through her pivoting, as we all do, because things don't stay the same, the only thing we're guaranteed in life is change, she's decided to move away from what she has been doing and moving towards something else. And because she's moving away from something, we have the benefit. She's putting all of the things that are in her shop at 50% off. So knowing that, and knowing Marcy, and having watched all her haul videos, what she's done over the last few years, going to different shops and finding special things, I knew that I had to take advantage of Marcy's pivot. So I sent away for a whole bunch of stuff. I'm piling it on here so you can see it. And yeah, so what I did was I went to her Etsy shop, and she has a special code if you want to get 50% off of whatever she has listed there. And everything she has listed is already a very reasonable price. So for the next 6 months, Marcy at Creators Call is going to offer anybody with this code 50% off what's there. So again, take a look at the video link in the description of this video to see how to get that code to get 50% off. But I thought I'd just share a little bit of what I received from her. And these are cards that are vintage Santa Claus Coca-Cola cards, playing cards. Of course I can't open it because I'm recording every time I go to record. Aren't these cute? I have a friend who collects Santas to the point where her entire house years ago was full of Santas of every type and every kind. So of course I thought of her right away when I saw this available. So I sent away for a few of these from Marcy, and some recipes, and a really pretty, isn't that nice, snowflake, and some programs from a Christmas program. Oh, some more cards, a little stamp. Marcy was doing some stamping on fabric a while ago. Take a look at that video. That was fun. Some trim cards. I'm just going to go very quickly through this. Interesting stuff, huh? And Marcy has gone out to so many different places that I'm not a shopper. I'm not a person that goes to secondhand stores and such. Just my mobility won't let me. But here I get a chance to see the things in real life that I saw on some of her haul videos from the places that she visited. So that's kind of exciting. And especially if you're not from the United States, if you're from overseas, take a look at what her policy is about shipping to you. I don't know. I don't know what this time period will allow or won't allow. Even some fabric. I'm really looking forward to making some Christmas journals this year. My first job is going to be to make some fall journals, but Christmas is coming up. And tickets. I mean, I've been making my own tickets. Jacinth Journals. She showed a really cool way in a a reel on Instagram, how to make your own tickets. So I'll link to that also below if I can figure out how to link to Instagram reels. But here's some real tickets that Marcy picked up, and I'm sure they're vintage. A cute little with a bulb with a gourd pin. And flashcards. I think I remember Marcy finding a bunch of flashcards in a hall somewhere. So all of a sudden I have all this ephemera, or soon to be ephemera, to play with. And it's really exciting. Some of this is vintage. I can tell just from the feel of the paper, obviously the look of the paper, but the way it tears also. Vintage papers tear so differently than modern paper. And then a whole package of different Bible themed and interesting ephemera from Bible pages. I have yet to pull apart a Bible. I haven't had the courage to do that, but Marcy's done it for me. She has different packs and different things available. You can see recipe cards and inserts from some kind of day book. Oh, there's another envelope. Now maybe I should use this envelope. We'll see, possibly. Books and indexes and how to sharpen a saw, or chisels. Would never know how to do that. Planting things, images from books, all the things that I don't get a chance to go out and find. She's done all the legwork. That's nice. And so here are going to be wonderful options as I start creating new journals and ephemera to go in that journal, those journals that I make. So you can see just everything, really interesting things from music. And this, I remember, this seems familiar. This must be from a children's Mother Goose book. I think I recognize the image from my grandchild's books. There's a children's dictionary, worksheets. Ah, yes, learning to print. And music. This is wallpaper. Really cool. This is a very interesting texture even. And lots of pictures. So as it came, Marcy had everything beautifully packaged so that if for whatever reason in the mail it had a problem, then the water wouldn't go in to the paper because it's packaged in plastic. And you can tell it's just extremely well preserved. It's all flat. There's nothing mishmashed. It's really nice. Ah, yes, this is all music. I'm looking forward to using this. I have a lot of music from my parents, but I don't have the heart to tear it apart yet. Notice I said yes. At some point, possibly I will, but Marcy's given me this, and so I can use some of this wonderful options. And here are two hymnals that I will be pulling apart and using the books. Obviously, they were given away, or Marcy picked them up somewhere because they're not in use anymore. And different things are pasted in, and it's had a good life. The spine is starting to wear. I'm sure if you wanted to give this, this is from June Walters. Somebody's hymnal, from First Baptist in Idaho. I've never been to Idaho. That's one state my husband and I haven't been to. So, this or this, which one should I use? Both of them are too tall. They're the same size, just one opens one way and one opens the other way. I'm going to stick with this, I think. The other thing that I've been doing, in addition to Junk Journal July, is trying to use up, I organized my scraps, and you'll see on Instagram if you follow me there, I organized all my scraps. This is just one box. This is the long pieces that come from when you trim a page to go into a journal. And I spent Saturday and Sunday, I was alone for a bit, just pasting them down onto junk mail. Let's see if I can find some. Just the junk mail that you get in the mail, whether it was an envelope. I pasted them down and then went over it with a little bit of sewing to make it look interesting and to make sure that it stuck well. So this is a little reading I'll send to somebody that will understand why I'm sending them an old envelope mailer. All these were just the different, whether it was for a dentist, how they send out those flyers. So I just covered them with strips of paper. I just pulled it out of my box, and started putting it down on top till I had it all covered. And then I put a beautiful sticker, a vellum sticker over top, and sewed around it and added grommets. I finally figured out how to put grommets or eyelets in successfully. And I will link to one of the best tutorials that I've ever seen about how to put them in properly. She goes through all the techniques with all the tools of how to do it, and so as you can see, they're all successfully in there. And then I did a little bit of stamping. I pulled out the stamps that our daughter had that have come to live at our house and made these tags. And I'll probably put some seam binding through the grommets and send them out to whomever, whenever, for whatever. But today it's Junk Journal July. I'm working on day 7, the envelope here. So I'm going to put it onto this page as I mentioned. Here, I'll attach it. This was a napkin from Marcy also, as was these vintage pieces. And I'll attach it to here like this. So I'm going to decorate this side. I'm going to decorate this side with some kind of collage. But first, I'd like to put a larger thumb hole here for whatever I decide to put inside of it. Yeah. How are you doing? I want to say thank you so much for subscribing. I am honored that you are watching and that I hope that I have something that's of value for you. Try to do that. I spend probably more time than I have ever spent in my life watching YouTube videos, just of different people who do this craft and are good at it, and I try to learn from them. This morning I watched a really interesting video about a collaboration between Deborah at Attic Lane and Tracy Fox from Love Junk Journals. And it was for a ephemeral holder, I think they called it. So I have a playlist, like a private playlist. When I find something that I really like and I want to try, I put it on in this playlist, the Try It playlist. So that's on my radar to try. Blessed Assurance. I know that one very well. So let's just glue this on and get started here. Now I can't sew any of this because if I sew it, I'll close the pocket, but that's okay. We're just decorating it now. It's really interesting to watch what other people put on there for the prompts, because of course each person is different. Their life, their experience, their journal is different. I knew when I made the 7 journals for the summer, I was going to use one of them for Junk Journal July. So I didn't add a lot of decoration or a lot of ephemera into it. It was just the basic pages. So this is working out quite well for me. I'm using 2 kinds of glue. This is called Art Glitter Glue, and there is no glitter in this glue. Just in case you were wondering, it's the name of the company. Yeah. So it's interesting to see what everybody does with their different prompts. Whether it was welcome, which was the very first one of Junk Journal July, or vintage, or even minimalism. Yeah, the reason I'm using two different kinds of glue is I find stick glue, for me, for where I live, doesn't stay sticking. That's why when I made this stuff, I always sew over top of it to make sure that it stays down. And if I see anything popping up, then I will add some art glitter glue or do something different. But let's put this one. Now I had this, so I'm gonna have to trim it too. And it won't be perfect, but that's okay. It'll work in a general sense. There we go. Yep, I think I'll do this way. What are you working on? Do you have a project on the go? I may be traveling next week. I really hope it works out that I have the opportunity to go to Canada. My mother isn't doing well cognitively. And since March of 2020, the border has been closed, meaning the US-Canadian border. And I'm an only child. My mother's in assisted living. So I really, really need to go see her. And we're going to knock on the door of the border. We'll have done all the requirements that they're telling us are necessary. And we'll just see if we're allowed in. No guarantees. This time period is unprecedented. Could never have imagined that this wouldn't, returning to take care of my 87-year-old mother. However, there are those that have it much more difficult in different parts of the world. I know my mother's being taken care of. That she has a doctor, she has medication, she has carers in where she is living. She has some extended family that is able to visit her now and again. But again, with the lockdown and the quarantine issues, it's all up in the air. So I'm hoping next week I can travel. We'll see. We'll see what I can do. And if so, I'm gonna, for the very first time, I'm gonna take a little bag with me and try to continue doing some of the Junk Journal July prompts. Because if I have a journal and it's small, it's small. Where is it? Where'd it go? I put it somewhere. Oh well. It's small. And I have some glue and I have, a little of this, a little of that. I should be able to still participate a wee bit. I'm looking in the pile of things that Marcy sent me. What am I going to do? Oh. Yes, that's how I'm feeling. Absolutely. Oh. Let's take that off the words. For one of the earlier prompts in Junk Journal July, I have chosen to use just a little bit of Edith Holden words from her book, which, if you're familiar with Edith Holden, even the wording is very beautiful. It's done in her handwriting style, calligraphy concept style. And I had fun just choosing random words that meant something to me. Maybe not everybody, but to me, they meant something. Yeah. Let's find an image that's fun. As I look through the different recipes, etc., it's funny. I'm not sure, for example, whether this is the kind of recipe that I would choose. Pitted sweet cherries and cream cheese in a cantaloupe. It's interesting how our tastes have changed as a culture. That looks like a Thomas Kincaid image. Let's put some of that on there. Here's the envelope. It's on the other side of that one. I have a Thomas Kincaid print on our wall. I think I like that. I put away all my trims and that. I don't have anything out. When I was busy doing the junk journal, the Cara Brandon, the farm journal, and even before that for the summer journals, I had chosen a bunch of things that I wanted to have just in the journal. So it was like my own, like going shopping in boxes in my in the office where I store the things that I use. And it was fun, but I put it all away again when it completed. Let's put one of these coupons. And this here. Let's put this, these. Now to try and separate it. Of course, I'm going to have more difficulty together with you here on well, I try to record because I found, for me anyhow, trying to record things, I'm more likely to have difficulty because I'm concerned about doing things both more quickly and coherently than if I were alone. And of course, I don't know about you, but for me, trying to talk and craft at the same time is not something that I do naturally. I'm usually very quiet as a person. I'm a better listener than talker, I think. So doing these junk journaling videos and talking coherently, making sense on topics has been a challenge, but I think I'm doing a little better. Yeah. Okay, come on. Aha, there we go. I don't know where I first saw this. It could be Wendy at Wendy's Journal Adventures. She used this method, and she had said she'd seen someone else do it. So tearing apart the layers of the napkin so you can decoupage them. Now I have before kept the white layer. I have a number of them in a box, so I won't keep these, but I think I'd like to just, which way? This way? Yeah, I think so. I'll just do it along here, and I'll tear in. Like I'm going to cover this whole area with stick glue and put the one layer of napkin down, and then I'll put something on top of that, so you'll be able to see the music page underneath, but the napkin will still be highlighted, and it gives it an interesting texture, the softness of paper napkin, or as we call it in Canada, or where I'm from, in Canada, Ontario, we called it serviettes. And I don't know whether that was the French influence from Quebec or whatever. But when I moved to the US and I used the term serviette, they didn't know what I was talking about. Actually, someone from South Africa who was in the group, she knew. Yeah, anyhow. So I'm going to keep decorating this, and I'll show you when I'm done. And I'll say, take care, and it's lovely to spend time with you. I wish you well. Enjoy crafting. I'll show what I'm finished in a photo at the end. Bye-bye. Well, hi, it's Lori, and I'm done with my envelope. Thank you to Marcia at Creators Call. Check out her shop and take a look at the video that I've linked to below. She sent me so much wonderful stuff to work with, and I'm very thankful. And thank you to Meg Journals. She's the originator of Junk Journal July, and she has given the prompts, and if you'd like to try it and play along, it's not too late. It's never too late. It's a very relaxed thing. So here's the finished envelope, and since this is day 7, I'll just finish by putting on number 7 here. And I used Bundled Sage Distressing just to do a little bit of inking around the edges of my envelope. So here it is. I tuck something in here, the envelope, with a napkin and a playing card. So that's number 7. Take care. It's Lori, Positive Thanks Living, and thank you again for joining me. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. I'd be happy to do this with you. Take care.